Bonjour la classe. So for the first grammar video, we're going to be starting with la comparaison, or as the book says, les structures pour comparer. So what does that even mean? Premièrement, on a trois types de comparaison. On a la supériorité, so think of anything that's bigger than, l'égalité, equal to or the same as, l'infériorité, less than. Okay, so of course that's in English, but what about, how do we say that in French? So you'll see in your book, these are the four words that we use to compare, right? Plus, mieux, so we'll see the difference between mieux and then plus or mieux, meilleur, etc. in a bit. They're not the same. Moins, which is less, infériorité, autant, which is the same. D'accord? Égal. Alright, so this is actually from your book. It might seem a bit scary, but I promise you it's not. It just has a lot of valuable information. So like I was saying, when you have a noun, un nom, un verbe, un adjectif, un adverbe, the way you're going to be structuring your comparisons is going to be different, okay? Let's start with the noun, okay? So let me get my highlighter here. So let's first of all find all of the words that we've seen in the previous slides in that column. So we have plus, de, yeah, so that's saying supériorité, autant de, that's égalité, moins de, right? So now let's take a look at what's bolded. So we have the QU or the que, right? The reason why it's QU apostrophe is because it starts with a vowel, okay? All right, so when you're trying to compare a noun, let's just say you're trying to compare the fact that there is more sunshine elsewhere than in France. Il y a plus de soleil qu'ailleurs en France. Le soleil, so the sun, it being a noun in this scenario, you have to have a de before it. So you'll have your comparison word followed by de, right? Followed by the noun, and then followed by que. Let's try it for the second one. Je cherche la formule idéale pour faire autant de progrès à l'écrit qu'à l'oral. So for the first thing that you want to ask yourself is, what are you comparing? Take a moment and reflect on that. I will say that you're comparing the progress that you're making, right? So that's why you're going to have the comparison word followed by de, followed by the word that you're comparing. So, and then followed by que. Okay. Next one. Il y a moins de soleil à Paris qu'à Perpignan. So this one again, you're comparing the amount of sun that you're getting. So this will be our noun. Okay. And then you're going to be comparing, you're going to be adding, your comparison word followed by de, the noun, and then the que. Okay. So while I'm talking, I'm just realizing here that whenever you have the noun, obviously you're going to have the first factor that you're comparing to whatever you're comparing it to. Now, let me give you an example in English. There's less sunshine in Paris than in Vancouver. Okay, so I'm always going to have what I'm comparing, the word that I'm comparing to whatever I'm going to be comparing it after, if that makes any sense. So it's really the same construction as in English, but obviously because you're learning French right now, we're trying to give you a little formula to help you. All right, so with the verb, it's a bit more, I would say, simpler. So for this one, j'étudie plus que toi. Again, here we have, let me find another color. We have, these are our comparison words, right? Okay, so here we're trying to compare the amount when it comes to verbs, not noun. Okay, we're trying to say I'm studying more than you, I'm working more than you. So these are words, right? So when you have that is you start with the verb and then you follow with the comparison word and then the que. Okay, I study more than you, and then you put whatever you're comparing it to after that. All right, il travaille autant que moi. Again, you have your verb first and then comparison after and then whatever you're comparing it to. J'apprécie moins les activités culturelles ou sportives que les cours de perfectionnement en français. Okay, so again, what are we comparing? The intensity of the material that we appreciate. Now, when it comes to adjective and adverb, it has the same construction. That's why we've grouped it under one category here. So we have plus, aussi, moins, plus the adjective or the adverb, and then the que. Okay, so it is a bit the same as the first column here. The only difference is that we don't have a de here before the adjective. Okay, so keep that in mind. All right, so first of all, what I'm gonna make you do, or even pause this video and do it mentally, is highlight your comparison words. So that would be plus, aussi. Aussi, that's another equality one. Égalité, the same, right? The equal sign. Moins, moins, aussi, plus. Okay, now let's see where are our adjectives. Again, we are comparing adjectives and nothing else, okay? C'est plus sympa qu'un logement individuel. Here is our adjective. Again, if we go back to the formula, we have our connective word, and because it's an adjective, I don't have the de here. Remember, I will only have the de if we're talking about nouns, okay? Qu'un logement individuel. So again, you have your que right after your adjective. All right. Il est aussi motivé que moi. He is as motivated as me. Right. So if I were to translate that so that you can better understand if you're an Anglophone. So again, I have my word here plus my adjective and then the connective factor. C'est un peu moins cher. Okay. So that's another adjective right here. Okay, for this one, it is a bit tricky because you might say, well, where is the que, right? Think of it as saying it is less expensive. You don't have to have a que here because you're not really comparing it to anything. So that's another construction that you might get familiar with, okay? All right, so finishing up with the column where we have adverbs here. Again, with adverbs, remember, contrary to the last one that we've seen here, adverbs actually describe verbs and not nouns, okay? So for this one, we have La CEF va plus loin qu'une simple école de langue. The fact that we are comparing the intensity that it's going, le CEF is going further than a simple school of languages. So again, what are we comparing is the fact that it's going further, right? The intensity that it's going. So une simple école de langue is not going the same intensity as CEF. So remember, I'm saying going again and again. It's because that's what we're going to be comparing it to. So this is actually comparing this one and not loin. Okay, let me see if I can erase that. Perfect. All right. Je veux parler et écrire aussi bien qu'un français. Okay, so the two verbs that we're comparing here is the fact that I want to speak and write as good as a French person, right? So these are the two verbs that I'm comparing. Whoops. Okay. Je vais moins souvent en cours que toi. I go to school or I go to class less than you do, right? Again, two factors here. We're comparing the fact that we're going to class. So we're comparing the verbs, okay? One more thing you might have seen the little annotations earlier is the difference between aussi and autant. Is autant you use that with nouns and the verbs, and aussi you use that with adjective and adverbs. J'ai un bon résultat. J'ai un meilleur résultat. Remember, you can't say I am more good than you in English. So it's the same thing in French. I can't say j'ai un plus bon résultat. That is not grammatically correct. Do people still make that mistake? Yes, we do. So here, remember, what are we comparing here? We're comparing a résultat. And what is résultat? It's a noun, right? That's where we're going to be using meilleur. Remember, meilleur is only used to categorize or to describe a noun, okay? That's why it's considered to be an adjective. If you were to have something to describe a verb like this scenario, you're going to be using mieux because mieux is an adverb, okay? So here is what you're going to be comparing. The amount that you're going to be sleeping, right? So if you want to say je dors bien is I sleep good. And if you want to say I sleep better is mieux. Okay, you won't say je dors meilleur, you will say je dors mieux, because if you say je dors meilleur, that means that you are saying that dors is an adjective when it's not, it's a verb. All right, so moving on to the exercice, I'm going to speed this up a bit here so that you don't get too bored. You're going to be seeing something similar as a form, in a form of quiz, so I'll be talking a bit more about that in class. All right, so for here, it tells us that we're going to be wanting something less than, okay? So if you were to see these little signs, you'll see this on an exam as well. It's basically telling you what intensity it wants you to be comparing it to. Premièrement, the first question that you want to ask yourself is whatever given to you a noun, a verb, an adjective, or an adverb? Is it a noun? Nope, it doesn't look like a noun. Is it a verb? Nope. Is it an adjective? For sure. Again, an adjective is what describes a noun, okay? So if you were to go back to look at your little formulas, it will be les aliments sont moins naturels qu'avant, okay? And again, you're going to have to do the accord based on your nouns, okay? Remember this. And again, here we have another adjective. Les femmes sont. Now it wants us to go plus. So we're going to do plus indépendantes qu'il y a 50 ans. All right, so les femmes sont plus indépendantes qu'il y a 50 ans. All right, so we're comparing the level of independence they had between two periods. Frites. Now, that doesn't look like a verb to me. It doesn't look like an adverb. Doesn't look like, what else do we have? An adjective. It looks like a noun, right? Je mange moins de frites que toi. So if you were to compare these two, notice, and that's very important, that we have the do here, okay? Ma sœur travaille. Now, you want to say that it's the same intensity, right? Let's see how we're going to do this. Autant que moi, right? It's a bit simpler when it comes to verb. You just need to have your verb first, and then your comparison word, and then the que, okay? L'école, now we're just going to be choosing between the two. L'école à Guilford est mieux, meilleure que celle à Branston. Now, first question that you want to ask yourself is, what are you comparing? Are you comparing an adjective? Are you comparing a verb, or are you comparing a noun? You're comparing a noun because l'école is a noun. Okay, so that would be meilleur. J'apprends meilleur, mieux à la maison qu'à l'école. again here, are you comparing a noun or are you comparing a verb? You're comparing a verb. It's the way you learn that you're comparing, so it's going to be mieux. Alright guys, hopefully you found this helpful. Again, if you have any question, feel free to let me know, and I'll post this even in the discussion board. À la prochaine vidéo. À plus tard.